Everyone fears the word crash. It sounds like destruction, chaos, panic, loss. But history tells a very different story, one that most people never learn until it's too late. Crashes don't destroy wealth. They transfer it from those who panic to those who prepare. And the next transfer, the one economists whisper about behind closed doors, the one investors refuse to talk about publicly but quietly prepare for, it might be coming in 2026. And if you understand what's happening, if you understand the pattern, it could become the biggest opportunity of your lifetime. The world looks calm right now, almost a calm. And that calmness is the most dangerous signal in finance. Before every disaster, the signs were there, quiet, subtle, easy to ignore. In 1929, newspapers printed headlines celebrating endless prosperity just weeks before the crash. In 2007, financial television laughed at the idea of a housing collapse. In early 2020, the world believed the bull market was unstoppable, calm, comfortable, confident. Every crash begins with that same illusion. Today, that illusion is back. Global debt is at levels humanity has never seen. Major economies are slowing down. Consumers are stretched thin. Tech valuations are inflated far beyond actual earnings. Large banks are quietly increasing cash reserves. And while the numbers flash red, ordinary people scroll through their feeds thinking everything is fine. But fine is the most dangerous word in finance because it hides the cracks until the entire foundation collapses. If you want to understand what might happen in 2026, you have to understand the loop. This loop has repeated for generations. First comes euphoria. People believe markets only go up. Everyone becomes a part-time expert. Social media turns into an investment circus. Then comes leverage. People borrow money they can't pay back. Companies take risks they can't support. Banks lend like the future is guaranteed. Then comes fragility. A small shock reveals how weak everything was. Investors ignore the warning signs. Confidence begins to shake. Then finally comes panic. The moment confidence breaks, markets collapse, not because the value disappeared, but because people's faith did. But there is one more stage. The stage most people never benefit from. Wealth transfer. When the masses sell out of fear, the prepared buy out of discipline. This is why some of the wealthiest people on the planet love crashes, not because they're cruel, but because crashes create chances that never appear in normal times. Chance to buy the strongest companies at the lowest prices. Chance to build assets at a discount. Chance to change the next decade of their lives. And history shows we may be approaching the next one. But here's the twist. The 2026 crash won't look like the ones before it. This isn't a single-point failure like the dot-com bubble. It's not just a credit collapse like 2008. It's not only a global shock like 2020. It's a triple pressure system building at the same time: record-breaking global debt, an AI-driven tech overvaluation bubble, and a consumer base stretched to its breaking point. Global debt is the silent volcano. Countries owe more money than at any time in history. Corporations rely on loans just to survive. Households use credit to maintain lifestyle, and when high interest meets low growth, the system becomes fragile, very fragile. Then comes the AI bubble. Companies valued 40, 60, even 100 times above their earnings, fueled by hype, dreams, and future expectations that may not materialize fast enough. The dot-com era looks small compared to the valuations we see today. And finally, consumer fragility. People are earning less, saving less, and spending more on basics. When consumers weaken, businesses weaken. When businesses weaken, markets weaken. And when markets weaken, the system becomes ripe for collapse. This is why the possibility of 2026 becoming a major financial turning point feels very real. Not because someone predicts it, but because history is repeating in slow motion. But here's the secret almost no one tells you. Market crashes are how generational wealth is born. During a crash, prices don't just fall, they reset. They drop to levels you will never see again. Imagine buying Amazon for $50, Apple for $30, Tesla for $80, Google for $40. These numbers sound impossible today, but in a crash, impossible becomes normal. Crashes create forced selling. People don't sell because they want to. They sell because they're terrified, broke, leveraged, or trapped. And the disciplined investor doesn't chase trends. They buy value when value becomes affordable. The companies that survive crashes become the giants of the next decade. After the 2000 crash came Apple's rise. After 2008 came Tesla, Uber, Airbnb, Netflix. After 2020 came breakthroughs in tech and digital infrastructure. Crashes don't end innovation, they accelerate it. So if a 2026 collapse happens, the question isn't how bad will it be. The real question is, who will benefit from it? History shows it's always the same three groups. The first are the cash holders. Cash in normal times is boring. Cash in a crash is power. It allows you to buy assets when they're 40%, 60%, even 80% cheaper. The second group are the informed. These are people who study cycles, patterns, valuations, macroeconomics. They don't gamble, they prepare. The third group are the patient. Wealth isn't made during the crash itself. It's made during the recovery. Every financial chart in history proves the same point. Those who hold for 5, 7, 10 years after a crash become the wealthy class. So what exactly might collapse first if a downturn hits? Tech stocks because overvalued sectors fall hardest. Real estate because high interest makes borrowing impossible. Over-leveraged companies because debt becomes a trap they can't escape. Consumer spending because people tighten their wallets in fear. But here's the part most people miss. In every crash, only a small portion of the market becomes truly dangerous. The rest becomes a discounted opportunity. This is the moment where millionaires are made quietly. After the crash, a predictable loop begins. Maximum fear, everyone thinks the world is ending. Quiet bottom, the news stops covering the market. People lose interest in investing. Slow recovery, strong companies begin to rise again. And then the boom, this is where wealth grows 3x, 5x, even 10x. People think money is made at the top, but money is made at the bottom. Now the question becomes, where will you stand when the next cycle hits? Most people will panic, sell, blame the world, and lose. A smaller group will stay calm, trust history, and position themselves. And that small group will walk into the next decade with opportunities the rest of the world missed. You don't need to predict the exact month or day of the crash. You don't need to time the market. You only need to prepare for the patterns that have repeated for 100 years. Build cash reserves not for safety, but for opportunity. Study strong companies, the ones with real profits, low debt, real demand, and long-term advantage. Avoid leverage because borrowed money destroys investors and crashes. Diversify across strong sectors, not across random assets. And finally, think long-term because if you want quick money, crashes will destroy you. If you want generational wealth, crashes will become your greatest gift. Here is the painful truth that history teaches. People rarely realize they are living through a wealth-building moment until it's already gone. In 2008, people were scared. In 2000, people were scared. In 1929, people panicked. But the people who stayed calm, who trusted cycles, who understood the patterns, they became the next decade's wealthy class. You are standing at the edge of one of the most important financial moments of your lifetime. The signs are there. The patterns are repeating. The cycle is preparing itself. The question is not whether a crash is coming. The question is whether you will be prepared for the opportunity it brings, because history doesn't repeat perfectly, but it echoes. Right now, those echoes are louder than ever. This is History of Finance, and if you want deeper breakdowns, real financial stories, and powerful lessons from the past to prepare you for the future, make sure you subscribe, because this isn't the end. It's the beginning of a new financial era, and those who understand history are the ones who profit from the future.